Welcome back, guys, to part 2 of the Murumbi Art Gallery, also known as the Kenya National Archives, as we learn about the artifacts and the history that is within the National Archives. You're welcome.
From here to that corner, these are African weapons. The different use of African weapons, they can be used, but they can be used to fight. And some of them are ceremonic weapons. Like these are found from the Congo people, the daggers. You can be able to see. These are ceremonial daggers. They are weapons of war, but they are not meant to fight. Exactly. Some of them also are used to install political leaders. For example, if you hear about the Koi and the Sun, yes, those people that talk, you see, this is for cutting grass when they want to construct their houses. This one, they are hunters and gatherers. You can be able to see. And this one is for removing small blood from the animal without killing it, for subsistence use only. And then they mix it with the milk. So it is used to remove blood from a cow from this particular angle. These are the Kamba people also are not left behind in times of fighting. If you find, you saw that the Kambas fought Masai, the Kambas fought Kikuyu on their boundaries. They used this kind of weapons. This is Ngasia. This one is the bow and this is the arrow. We have put them facing up because of the poison that we put. They are poisoners. And this is like a magazine. So the person who uses this kind of weapon, we can categorically say they can easily do what is called poaching, because you cannot bring an elephant using this one. And this 1, 2, 3, 4, these are for the Maasai.
The shields.
Yeah, the shields and the spear and the machete. Yeah. For example, Maasai still practice their culture. Maasai can be found carrying 2 machetes, and they are walking where there are no animals. For example, outside here, you have not seen any lion, but you can find Maasai are armed, but they are not arrested by the police officers because police understand this is part of their culture. And likewise to other tribes, if you are found even with a spoon you have put here, you are arrested because we don't know your intention with that. Are you together? So this is a cultural activity for Maasai, which is peaceful. You can see they have got white on their face. This is a peaceful exercise. And you can also be able to see this another peaceful. This one is a cultural activity for them. You can see the headgear is the skin of a lion. In their culture, they believe that if they kill a lion, then they get opportunity to marry. But we tell them no. Nowadays, we change them from a childhood to adulthood through education. If you kill all the lions, we shall kill tourism also in the country. This bag and this bag are Maasai bags for women. This for a old woman, and this one is for a young Maasai lady. So they are used as weapons because they are called pouches. You put on your armpit so that thieves don't just steal their warehouse in the market when they put them down. You can be able to see that one up there is the skirt of a young woman that is ready for marriage. Yes, that mask you see there is made from the ostrich feathers, and they are worn by the Maasai because initially they were, for example, you can see this photograph is putting this the skin of a real lion. And because they were told now you don't stop killing lions, now they are donned that is made from the ostrich feathers to stop killing of the lion. So they adopted that one. Yes, and as we say, for example, some of these African weapons were used as money. For example, you can see these are shields, spears. These are spears, but they were used by the Bakumba people who are found in DRC Congo. When you talk about barter trade, This is now where that one comes. You give me a sack of millet, I give you a sack of maize. One part of Kenya, they are fishermen. Actually, I'm one of them here.
Yeah.
So they use, this is our shield. We use it for fighting. We use it also for our cultural activities. Are we together?
Yes.
This is a shield that can be used to show that this person is a sharpshooter in African society. The way you can talk about a trained soldier from Israel that can come and deal with Al-Shabaab or a terrorist.
Yeah.
If you see an African putting this charging in front, you know that one is not just a municipality officer.
Skilled.
A skilled person actually. That's why you can see this the target and this the spear targeting there.
Wow.
Actually. Behind you here, because we are talking about weapons, you can easily see that this is a very strong person, a heavily bodied person. You can see this is a whole biceps. This is the head. You can see it's a strong person. So in the current society, we can liken it to a bonza, a strong person who stands in front of the gate of a restaurant. He's not getting inside, or he's not even buying anything, but he denies people opportunity. A strong person in society that can protect the society. Let me ask something. This one is for the Turkanas, and that one I said is for the Luos.
Yeah.
Madam, which one can you use when you are being invited to help to fight? This the Luo one or the Turkana one?
To fight?
Yes.
The Luo.
Yes, why?
Because I think it's bigger.
And you are well protected.
Yes.
Then according to me, or heritage officers, the person who uses this one is a coward. The person who uses this one, this is the
He's
real
a-
fighter.
The warrior.
It's a warrior, real warrior.
Uh.
It's made from the skin of a giraffe. This is for the metal one. Actually, I say that, and you can see how this is held. This is a tactful person that can really fight hard. And you can be able to see this, the skin of a leopard. A leopard is a fearless animal, and they have used the headgear of ostrich feathers. Definitely. So this one can tell you the diversity that we have in our society. Where we are now entering without a visa or any method of movement is Ethiopia.
Wow.
Welcome to Ethiopian Corner, and let us start by showing you a cultural Ethiopian dress. If you see somebody like this in the airport, you know this is an Ethiopian. So this is, they made it using, actually we have got the embroidery, how it is made there, and this is 100% pure cotton. This is a Ghanaian dress. I talked about, it's called Kente dress. And this one you can see, I talked about Nemba from Guinea, that wooden sculpture. And I told you that they are using it during the beauty contest in 60s and 70s. It represents a young lady, and you can see these young ladies are in competition of beauty. Kenyans are usually not left behind in terms of innovation. And we can say that this is a Kenyan made from the skin of an animal. They have used some copper, but the beauty part of this one, it only covers the front part of a lady. The behind is left open. Very good. When we talk about the storage facility in Ethiopia or African, this is an example of an African thermos flask. You have really broken how many up to now, madam?
Yeah, a lot.
We shall give you this one. Now we stop breaking them.
Yes.
If you talk about African hot pot, we show this. They use basketry, and they use the outer layer for the skin so that the vapor does not come out. When I want to, this is an evidence that the Kikuyu women participated on the war of Mau Mau with the British. They were putting here a mixture of maize and beans that they call githeri. They take for their men in the bush where they are fighting.
Mama.
Mau Mau, yes. So this is an evidence that we keep that Kikuyu women participated in the war of against the colony in the name of Mau Mau. There. So I just told you this is Ethiopian corner, and you can see Ethiopia was not colonized. The Italians went there, but they were repulsed. And this one, you can even see the kind of weapons they were using, the kind of shields they were using. You see that? Ethiopia is a blessed country. When you talk about the story of King Solomon, Queen Sheba, This is an artistic expression, how Queen Sheba heard that there's an African, an Israel cock that is really marrying very many women. The King Solomon had already 700 women plus 300 concubines, and God still loved them. God really loved polygamous people during olden days. I don't know why the God of now. And you can see their colors. These are Ethiopian colors, and this one is the conflict between wild animals and human beings that currently is even in our constitution. You saw hyena eating a school child, yes. So they were using these shields, which can also be doubled as the helmet, yes, to fight the Italians. And this is where they eat their harar foods. They call injera, that big chapati. They put it here and they share. This is the embroidery for making that Ethiopian dress. Yes, and this is the alphabetical order for the Ethiopians' Amharic language. A, B, C, D, Abu, Kudu for their language. Christianity started there a long time ago, as you can be able to see, because of King Solomon and Queen Sheba. Actually, they gave birth to Menelik the First, that gentleman that looked like a Rastafarians. And they are also connected with the Rastafarians through Haile Selassie. So you can see the original crosses. I told you this is a head rester. You can see, and these are some of the Ethiopian gifts that were given by the Ethiopian embassy. The Ethiopian traditional headrest, Hafa, Agurage, Sidema, and Afar knife. This one is like the dagger, Ethiopian dagger. And you can see they are really religious. You can see this religious activity here. You can see how King Saint George slayed the dragon. You see how fight between the good and the bad, the sin and the you see that. And sometimes this woman who is here tells you that whenever there is good or bad, a woman is usually involved in that. When you are brought down or you are succeeding, a woman is involved. So this is the pictorial that explains that one. Yes, which is still religious. During colonial times, we had got a British called John Boyce. John Boyce was made a paramount chief by the Kikuyus, and actually they sold for him Mount Kenya. You can see actually you can see this photograph, and he was allowed to do anything as he wanted. He was even allowed to do the poaching.
That's
you can
him.
see, this same John Boyce, and this is his famous early. He was a famous early game hunter, trader. He was doing everything as pertains, and these are some of the Africans, natives that used to exist during that particular time. So also on the same note, we can say Uganda is a country that is adjacent to Kenya. Here actually is one of the East African community, but sometimes it is very difficult. So this is just a mosaic work. Those are two people who is having an affair actually, and this is the mother in this society. This is the daughter of that house. This is the mother of the house, this is the daughter of the house, and this is the maid in that house. It tells you how Uganda ladies usually they are very adorative when they are serving their men. They kneel down. And I think that is why the East African community cannot work well, because of the fear. The people in Kenya fear people in Uganda. People in Tanzania, people fear people in Kenya. And I think you see where the fear is coming. When they open the border, because sometimes our Kenyan women, they don't treat us the way the Uganda women treat men. Definitely, if the border is open, you think, I will also go to Uganda. As for this particular case. We have got African heritage jewelries here. There's nothing, these are purely beauty items made with African items. There's nothing from China here. These are bones of small animals. They have used them to make the wrist. This is the small round thing chain that is made from the ivory, very expensive chain. This is made from the porcupine spikes, and they have joined it using the dates the seeds of date. This is, I told you, this is the white one you see is an ostrich eggshell. And they have used the small animals of like dick to join it. Natural items. This is a water hyacinth. This is an old cooking pan, which is now cannot be able to be used. The lawyers throw it away, and the Turkana pick it. They like aluminium, so they can make a necklace made of aluminium. So all that you see here is natural, and they are found just within the continent of Africa here. And they were using them for the beauty contest during those 18th century going down. So you see, the adoration of the beauty started a long time ago. The wife of Joseph Murumbi, who was called Sheila Murumbi, donated this necklace and this one. And actually from the photograph you can see is putting them on. And that's why I say these things are priceless. If you steal this, we cannot be able to go to China and get another one. So what we should do is just to make sure this is protected for future generation. Yes.
Wow.
This one is actually very interesting. It's done by, these are the African contemporary. These are done by Louis Mwaniki. This lady is standing in front of Kenya National Archives. This building, cylindrical building you see, is Hilton Hotel. So this one tells you this issue of ladies targeting men in a particular corner started at Hilton Hotel here. But nowadays they reallocated to Koinange Street. This one tells you that good story. You can see this nice lady, how she's dressed.
Yeah.
And imagine she has not bent down. Oh, what will happen?
Yeah.
Yeah. Still on the Kenyan metal jewelry, this one I'll have to put some light here, so that I want to show you the Kipande system. When we talk about administration during colonial time, when the movement was restricted, you can be able to see this is a chain, and it is a holder for a document, a traveling document, and identifiable document during colonial time. It's called Kipande system. So Africans were not allowed to put identifiable document inside their pocket, because when they are asked to produce it, they used to remove the knife. Now the colony said, no, this thing should be hung on the neck, so that they see that you are not removing anything. Otherwise, these are just African jewelries. They are made from aluminium, and they are used in different cultures. But the bottom line, they are metals. Yes, and you can be able to see from there. That is fig tree, or Kikuyu call them mugumu tree. Which mugumu tree? Mugumu tree can be used also where they have got a shrine, wherever they are praying, somewhere like that, and it is a cultural item. This, where you are here, this is African adornment. Yes? Talk about her first. She was called Professor Wangari Maathai. This woman is a woman that whenever we could are having a seminar on climatic change, like the one we did recently, she could be sitting in front there. She died in 2011 because of ovarian cancer, but she was not buried. She left a will behind that when she died, she was burnt in a coffin made of grass. She did not want to see a scenario whereby at home, whereby when there's a funeral, somebody come and identify a very big tree, a very big cow for slaughter. As they identify a tree, then they call a carpenter to cut that tree and then put her body in a coffin made of wood. That's why she was burnt in a coffin made of grass. She was not like this. You did not see her well. She was dreaded and daring. This is just an adornment that she adorned after she organized women to come out from her foundation that was called the Green Belt Movement to fight for Uhuru Park. Uhuru Park is there courtesy because of this woman. Actually, she was beaten by the police and they were naked. It's wrong to see your mother naked, an African man to see. So that is the trick they used to deal with that regime that was up in hand in grabbing children playing places. Uhuru Park is a public recreation center. So for that reason, if you see us putting a photograph of somebody here, We put photographs of people that can inspire a generation. If you're a thief, we had you in the basement. So that's why she's here, and she really went to school. The person who took her to school is Thomas Joseph Mboya, under the Airlift program in 1959, that 81 bright African students were given opportunity to go and get scholarship outside and then come later on and run the country. So some of the beneficiaries were this lady. The father of Barack Obama Senior was one. That's why Obama was found. He was one of he entered the airplane also. And it's a true story. Professor Joseph Saitoti was also a beneficiary. So this woman, we put her here when we talk about the climatic change or the importance of keeping environment. Environment is a very harsh thing. When it comes, it hits everybody. The ones who are planting trees and the ones who are cutting trees. The nature does not choose, and that's why she was called Mother Nature. She was also a politician. She comes from Tetu in Nyeri. So she's a woman that can inspire a generation, and that's why even she won a Nobel Peace Prize in 2004. It's a Norwegian prize. It's a global award, and you can see some of these places. This is where she went, and I told you she was daring and dreaded. And this adornment is here to cover the scar that was inflicted by police officer that grabbed one of the hair. So she bleeded, and from that time she decided to have this adornment to cover the scar so that she can also heal. The upper gallery of the Murumbi Art Gallery. The upper gallery, we have got the history of this country. Kenya is now 61 years old. So if you want to know the chronology of events of how we have come from, did we struggle, and with who, and why was the struggle? That is in the topic of the birth of Kenya. So the students learn that in their schools, but their teacher teaches them theoretically. So here we do diagnosis. We can easily show them practically, and that's why we say archives is a history laboratory, and we teach differently from their teachers in the school. So when we want to talk about pre-colonial times, before the coming of those people, the traders, the missionaries, Africans were living in their own cocoon. I told you about, this is about health. A sick Kamba person being treated by a sick doctor. That's why I was telling you, Kambas don't take their people to the police station, because they might be able to know the police and the thief, they are good friends. And because of justice can be delayed, and that's why they have. So this culture and ways of life. You can see this is an African Kikuyu mother and child. This is how African child, a decent African child looks like, you see. You can see the work of saloon was done by men. So the pattern on your head, madam, is courtesy of the boy child. You usually know, this is 18th century going down. Usually see them, still nowadays people have this, isn't it? So nothing, history just repeats itself. You can see this is African bar and restaurant. This is where I was telling you, they put the alcohol in one pot and they share using the straws. Here, madam, even if you don't have any single cent, you can leave this place drunk more than the person who was buying. It is very friendly. I told you, even Luos are fishermen, Turkanas are also fishermen, but the Turkana, they fish when they are naked, but the Luos, they have. The reason why they are naked is to get an African bumper harvest, simply because the fish is naked in the water and the fisherman is also naked. When you talk about paramount administration during colonial times, we have got paramount chiefs. Some of them resisted the British, some of them collaborated with them. I cannot talk about all of them, but because you know Wayaki Way is named after paramount chief Mwadhamaki Wayaki Wahinga. Next year, if you find a very tall erected statue at the Western Land roundabout near Uchumi, it's this person here. He resisted, and that's why the railway did not follow this route here, Moi Avenue. Railway was diverted to Satellite Kibera because he resisted. He was buried alive in Kibwezi. They dug a vertical grave and they've buried him vertically. So the government want to recognize that, and that's why the statue will be put Another one, this is the father of the mother of Joseph Murumbi. I told you the father of Murumbi was an Indian, those who were building the Kenya-Uganda Railway. And when they reached Nairobi, they go to Masai, this area, and then they married that one. So it's very important for you to know that. This is the paramount chief Sudi, who was the father of the head of Catholics. Otunga, Bishop Otunga is going to be canonized. They want to beatification him because he lived the life of Jesus Christ, life of simplicity. He did not use the fuel guzzler vehicle. Otunga only had his briefcase, his walking stick, and his akala shoes. That those were his only belongings. And that's why I say Otunga was buried twice. He was buried in St. Austin and reburied at Resurrection Garden. They want to incorporate his name in the Catholic prayer. When they say, Hail Mary, full of grace, Saint Otunga, pray for us. That is, and also women, I can't believe, women in administration during colonial times were there. This paramount chief was called Wangwa Makeri. She ruled in Fort Hall. Fort Hall is currently known as Muranga County. So that is how we can explain that one. During colonial times, we were having governors. The worst governor was called Saeba Lane Barings. This is the one who did a lot of atrocities. This other one called Malcolm Donald shared power with Jomo Kenyatta. When we talk about coalition government, Jomo Kenyatta was the prime minister. He was like the head of the state. That is a grand coalition government. War took a lot of time, from 1952 to 1959. I told you these people were dreaded just like Wangari Maathai. The idea of having dreads is that, first of all, in the bush there was no barber shop. And secondly, if you want to show the police that what you are protesting is a very serious issue, you don't come with a baby face like yours, madam. Actually, when you are organizing a mandamano or demonstration, you don't appear. You might confuse police whether today it is a beauty contest or why today we are not serious. And that's why these Mau Mau people were dreaded like that. And I told you about Kipande system. I showed for you down there the container, but now this was the document. Remember, during Corona, you must have essential service provider for you to be allowed to move from one place to another. So, and I cannot say fail because talking about this person, Dedan Kimathi was having his own army, and Dedan Kimathi was a field marshal, a fighter, and he really fought the British. The British shot him. He was shot by a home guard in 1956, and then 1957 he was hung to death. The same year, 1957, he was hung to death is when they allowed Kenyans to have representative, to be elected to join the British Parliament. Are we together? Which means if he could have not been killed, definitely he could have joined the Parliament. So let me just say in short, during this particular time, we were having two sets of African. One set was fighting for land and freedom. Another set was killing other Africans on behalf of the British. They were called Home Guards. Are we together? So, if you hear a political leader saying that he's a son of Mau Mau in your television, he might be lying. Here we might be seeing him as a home guard. Are we together? So you have seen, you can see emergency villages, people, women who are not allowed to stay in their own homes because their men were fighting in the bush. So they created a general village and they dug a very big hole so that it could not be accessed. This is where I was telling you women participated. They were carrying githeri and they put in that, what did we say, hot pot, and they take to the men where they are fighting in the bush. I told you about the Kisii soapstone that represent the struggle what Kenya went through at the peak of independence. Eradication of poverty, eradication of diseases, eradication of illiteracy. This one is adult education. You can see an old woman went back to school after independence, and this what also made Tom Mboya to start that airlift program that made bright students, then later on they can come and run the country. The British started ruling this country properly in 1920, but they never allowed us to play politics until 1944, when they nominated the first black person to join the British Parliament was called Eliud Mbathu in 1944. In 1946, they added another one from my village in Siaya Game. He was called Benea Apollo Hanga, and they made him a cabinet secretary in charge of community development. These are the people that remove power from the hands of the British back now to the Africans. In nowadays, you call it Transition Authority Office. Some of them are members of the British, like Bruce Mackenzie actually was the British that was left in the first cabinet of Jomo Kenyatta. So this one tells us, as much as we are fighting the British, we did not get the things looked the same, because he was in the cabinet and he was made the minister in charge of agriculture. Later on died after visiting Amin Dada in Uganda. He was given a present, and the present exploded in the aeroplane. Amin Dada was revenging how he helped the Israelites to go and capture the people he had captured of the Israel in Uganda. You remember that one? So that's why he was revenging. So Michael Blondel was also a political body, because during colonial times, the British are the ones who are playing politics themselves alone. So this person, Blondel, I can compare with Raila. If you hang on Raila's coat, chances of you winning that seat is very high. Some of them are people, members of Kapenguria 6, Achingo Nego, Fred Kubai, and Paul Ngei. Some of them are people who are politically assassinated. Assassination is killing somebody because of politics. So Pio Gama Pinto was the first person to be killed in this country because of politics, followed by Thomas Joseph Mboya in 1969 because of politics, presidency, and then 1970. This is under Jomo Kenyatta's rule, and 1975, one of their own, this James Kariuki, was a member of parliament of Nyandarua. Nyandarua and Kiambu and Muranga are adjacent counties. Are we together? So his problem was, he was killed in 1975 and Jomo Kenyatta died in 1978, which means he was killed because he had been seen the possible successor of the president, and oath had been taken. The only person who can see Jomo Kenyatta must come from Kiambu, not any other place. Mother is the wife of King George VI, and Queen Elizabeth is the daughter of the Queen Mother. So they rule through monarchy, whereby we have got this, the son will have to, even in Africa here, it is easy for a king to give birth to a king. Are we together? That you can find Kenyatta the first, Kenyatta the second, Odinga the first, Odinga the second, isn't it? Kalonzo the first, Kalonzo the second. And then we have got police commissioner during colonial times and police commissioners after independence. And you can see nowadays we don't have police commissioner as the head of the police. We have got Inspector General of Police. If a policeman accosts you, you don't report a police into any police near or far, because that's why they introduced an institution called Independent Police Oversight Authority that looks in the conduct of the police. The police cannot investigate themselves. We have failed. And I also like telling Kenyans that when you are arrested by a police officer, don't be forced to write a statement. They are going to use that under section 49 of the Constitution. They can use that statement to fix you. It is your right to keep quiet. Are we together?
Yeah.
And we remove them from the position here because of chapter 6 of the Constitution. Some of them even saw cabinet secretaries being assassinated. Some of them saw golden bag. A whole police commissioner was taken to the Hague. A police commissioner or any police should behave with ethics and moral, just like a priest, like Father Tony of Don Bosco. Then nowadays I said we have got inspector. These are the Kenya Defense Force. The president gets his strength. The president is not a military person. He's just an elected person. After he's elected, he becomes the commander-in-chief of all the armed forces, which means the head of the military. The choice of the head of the military must be a person who cannot be able to betray him, a trusted person for several years. But these are the few countries that he managed to go. Kibaki also ruled for 10 years. These are the countries he managed to go. I understand currently we have just ruled for 1 year and we have covered very many kilometers. Otherwise, to finish it up, I will say Murumbi was just a soldier in India where he went for exile. But when he went to London, they met the German woman who was called Sheila. Sheila was a librarian, Sheila is the one who introduced Joseph Murumbi into the art of preserving African culture. So because I told you she was a librarian, in our library we have got books, historical books. I think Sheila must have helped her to collect those historical books. Sheila was also involved in doing the beauty contest, organized the African contest during colonial time. So Sheila, because she was a librarian, she collected stamps. Stamps was the way that was introduced by the British how to communicate. Otherwise, initially the Africans were beating drums and calling themselves in a manual way. So it was agreed that you buy a pen, a paper, write. The letter cannot go anywhere until you put a postage. The postage stamp has been replaced by the use of the phone, madam. So, and something interestingly, I want to tell you that when the country, what is the choice of use of a human being? The image of a human being, like a president on the stamp, what does it send? It sends a message to the other country where the letter is going that that country is now stable. They are from election. So the choice of the photograph of a president like that one, like this is the president of Ghana called Kwame Nkrumah. In our country here, if you put the photograph of President Ruto, it tells, because people cannot go to invest in a country where there's civil war. So it talks about stability. And what about the choice of the use of Kenya wildlife? Animals like this, it promotes tourism. Like this animal is called bush baby. It comes from Malawi. If somebody has got a baby that is disturbing, somebody can go to Malawi. So it promotes generally. So when a country wants to put one of their sons or daughters on a global platform, they put them on the stamp. Then they'll see, hey, Kenya has got marathons. Kenya is doing well in athletics.